Amy, and just tell the kids a little bit about your background, say who you are and what you do in the educational field.
Hi, guys. I'm excited to see your debates. I am the K-12 English supervisor in Waldwick, but I was a longtime English teacher in both middle school and high school.
And moving to Miss Malaspina, because I don't know who's right next. It's Mr. Best.
That's Mr. Best.
For some reason. All right.
Here. I'm Miss Malaspina. I am the librarian at Somerville Middle School in Somerville, New Jersey. And I also have a son at South Orange Middle School in 7th grade. But I am going to be unbiased in my views. And I've been doing these debates with Miss Butler for a number of years. So, welcome everybody.
Moving to Mr. Carroll.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? I'm Kevin Carroll, high school principal at Waldwick High School. Looking forward to my first debate here. And looking forward to hearing about cell phones. We've embraced cell phones at Waldwick High School for years now, so looking forward to it.
And moving along, I think that's the class. Miss Franzi.
Hi, I'm Miss Franzi. I'm a supervisor of curriculum and instruction in Middletown. But before this, I taught middle school reading, which I loved. And I actually was one of the judges last year for Byram and South Orange when you guys faced off. So I'm looking forward to seeing another good debate.
And moving along to the high school debate team judges.
Hello, we are from Madison, Alabama, and we're both on the debate team for James Clemens High School, and we have both qualified for state finals and national finals for debate.
So I wish both sides good luck in the debate, and while obviously Mr. Fritzky and I have a bet going on that if my school loses, I have to wear Byram gear to school, and if he loses, he has to wear South Orange gear. The most important thing that we want the students to recognize is that it's not about, and he's showing the shirt right now, it's not about winning or losing. We want you to walk away with the skills that are so necessary for argument and speaking in front of crowds, because this is just the beginning. And I always tell you, if you're going to argue with your parents, you need to do it in a productive manner. Arguing doesn't get you anywhere in life unless you have structure to it, and you've done your research, and you know what the other side is going to say. So thank you so much, and we're going to start. And the moderator for the debate is Ms. Phillips.
Hi, everyone. I just want to start out by welcoming Byron School, and we're going to start off with South Orange with their round one with their opening statement. And they have 2 minutes.
When you walk into the school with the devices that you have, you actually have the whole world in your fingertips, says Thomas C. Murray, who serves as the and District Learning Director for Excellent Education and the Future Ready Initiative in Washington, D.C.
Having a cell phone provides opportunities for anywhere, anytime learning because it teaches responsibility and helps prepare children for the real world. And above all, they're essentials in emergency situations. Since 1950, only 2 mass shootings have taken place outside of a gun-free zone. Don't these statistics speak volumes to you? Drills and police accepting cell phones in the Chardon school shooting paid off with creating the early path to 911 calls, which limited the casualty to a mere 3 victims, a number that could have been a lot larger if students weren't able to have access to their cell phones.
Cell phones themselves are causing problems for students in schools. These problems are moral and ethical in nature, not technical. Banning cell phone will not be the solution. We have to educate students about the proper way to use cell phones in school in the first place.
Byram, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Good morning. We here at Byram Intermediate School would like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us for this debate.
If you expect to get into college with bad grades, think again. Your academic success in middle and high school will either positively or negatively affect your future. Your cell phone is not helping. Studies show that kids perform higher on tests in schools where cell phones are banned than in schools where cell phones are allowed in class. Low scores on standardized tests will also affect teachers. Having successful kids means no phones in school.
A wise man once said, "I fear the day that technology will surpass human interaction." A large majority of human interaction in our generation is usually through an electronic device. With that comes cyberbullying. Most of this cyberbullying takes place on cell phones, and if cell phones are allowed in schools, the cyberbullying could carry over into their school time. As we allow cell phones in more and more places, we are pushing ourselves further and further away from each other.
Classrooms are full of distractions. From a fly on the wall to a note passed down the aisle, it has always been present in the classroom. Now, there's a new form of distraction. It's called a cell phone. Cell phones are portals to things like games, social media, and much more. And if a student has this device in the classroom, they'll have easy access to all of those things. And the student will probably be more interested in what's on the screen than a math lesson. Texting and gaming are largely related to distractions in the classroom. Teacher Ben Johnson even states that his son had over 5,000 texts in 1 month, roughly one text for every 3 minutes he was awake. Now that's distracting.
This now is round 2, and we will have the first pro reason from South Orange, and they will have 2 minutes.
Did you know that 80% of teens in America own cell phones, and still, educators have done their best to aggressively erase this tool from their very existence in the classroom? Why is this still a case in the year 2016 when cell phones are a real distribution of learning? Can you imagine being able to have access to cell phones
As a nation, we must have a shift in mindset and accept that these small but powerful computing devices could play a crucial role in the classroom, states Eric Scheninger, Senior Fellow and Thought Developer in Digital Leadership and Education. We must begin to use and embrace cell phones as mobile learning devices.
Cell phones enhance learning because everything you learn on a cell phone is as good as a textbook. Except by the time a textbook arrives in school, the information is already dated. Teachers should begin to incorporate mobile learning devices into their everyday instruction as a tool for learning, as a student response system, and for an assessment. Exit Ticket, Poll Everywhere, Go Now are just a few resources teachers across the nation are utilizing in classrooms.
We must empower students to use and view cell phones as tools for learning, not just socialization. Several decades ago, teachers and schools were hesitant to utilize new, innovative technology in the classrooms because technology was known as a distraction. Now, fast forward 2 decades, we are at the crossroads where we need to look at cell phones being misnamed in schools. We should call them the gateways to human knowledge. Isn't this what we want for our students?
This is now the conferral period, and Byron, you will have 1 minute. Byron, your 1 minute is up. We'll now hear the con side, the rebuttal from Byron's school.
Like you said, how you can learn everywhere, you also can get distractions everywhere. You never know what the kid's going to do when he or she has the phone in front of him. You can distract the attention from a children while studying and doing homework. That's what a phone can do. This is the reason why most parents take their phones away from you when you're doing homework, because they know that you can get distracted. Even in schools, even though you might say that you're not going to play a game, but you might see a notification for your game and want to play it instead of pay attention to class. Also, no, that's good.
This is now round 3, and we'll hear from the con side, the first reason from Byron, and you will have 2 minutes.
Academic success is something parents, students, teachers, and school officials stress over frequently. Why should we allow cell phones if studies show a decline in academic success? Test scores are very important to calculating our grades and will eventually lead to your academic success. Phones put this all at risk. The University of Texas and Louisiana State University studied schools that banned cell phones. They studied them before and after this new rule was established.
The results showed a 6% increase in student test scores and that underachieving students' exam scores rose by 14% after the banning of cell phones. It was said to be the equivalent of an additional hour in school or 5 days added to the school year.
Test scores also affect your future academic success. Test scores of population increase the value of homes in our community.
After speaking with our superintendent, Brian Hens, we learned that the number of students in attendance is related to federal funding. Or in more simple terms, the more students, the more funding. When young home buyers looking for communities to raise their families, one of the first things they check is the local school's test scores. Stronger test scores can result in making the community more desirable for the families, which will result in more funding. With this funding, the school can offer a variety of extracurricular activities as well as stronger academic programs such as STEM Lab.
The decrease in funding causes various revisions to the academic programs offered by the school, such as cuts to extracurricular activities, for example, a mass media production class. It also includes cuts to resources the district has at its disposal to offer higher educational programs. Would cell phones be worth the risk of sacrificing these excellent programs?
South Orange will now have a conferral period for 1 minute. South Orange will now have the rebuttal side, and they will have 1 minute.
The less research side may claim that academics decline because of cheating. However, cheating is a conscious decision made by the student. And by taking away cell phones in class, Cheating will not stop. Our teacher, Mrs. Butler, didn't get her first cell phone until age 22, and during our research, she told us cheating was still prevalent during her schooling. Notes under the desks, messages in the bathroom, looking over their students' shoulders during an assessment, and cheat sheets. By blaming cell phones for causing cheating, we are ignoring the root of the problem. In fact, one of the main reasons cheating is a rising problem in our school system is because of high pressure and stress. There is something that is fueling students to go to the lengths to cheat, and by blaming cell phones, and by taking away cell phones, they will not suddenly realize cheating is wrong. So let's stop blaming the cell phones and start looking for solutions when it pertains to cheating. And we still don't even know the correlation between cell phones and funding.
This is now round 4, and we will present the second reason, and we will hear from South Orange, and they will have 2 minutes.
Have you ever imagined having access to your email or the internet at your fingertips without needing to use a desktop or a laptop? In 2016, 88% of students own cell phones, better known as mobile learning devices. So shouldn't we embrace and teach responsibility and life skills instead of ban something that's part of our every adolescent's pure existence?
It is essential for mobile learning devices to be embraced in the educational landscape for a majority of reasons. Google Classroom, Google Drive, Blogger, Khan Academy, calculators, calendars, Edmodo, iBooks, iScience, textbooks, and email.
How many adults on this Google Hangout or parents that are watching this live debate utilize their cell phones for numerous amounts of reasons throughout the workday? You don't even have to raise your hands because we know that all adults utilize their cell phones for numerous amounts of reasons throughout the workday. But shouldn't we be molding our students to prepare for the 21st century world of technology? If we banned mobile devices in school, we'd miss out on knowing that the cell phone in your student's pocket is vastly more powerful than the computer used by Neil Armstrong to land on the moon. Take advantage of this power.
If we ban mobile learning devices in school, we'd be missing out on the conversation of proper use with our students. If we don't ban mobile learning devices, but instead have a classroom policy that permits students to have and use their cell phones in a responsible manner, with consequences for breaking the rules, we'll be teaching more than just our subject matters in school. You'll be teaching responsibility in life.
We're now in the conferral period, and Byram, you have 1 minute. Okay, we are now ready for the rebuttal, and they will have 1 minute.
How are cell phones teaching responsibility for the real world? Okay. A study conducted by Inside Higher Ed revealed that 90% of students have admitted to using their cell phones in class for non-class related activities. How does 90% of students not staying on task when these cell phones are present in the classroom seem to teach us any responsibility at all?
Are you done?
I think so.
We are now on round 5, and we'll hear from the con side, which is the second reason from Byron School, and you will have 2 minutes.
Hey, did you see that picture on Instagram?
Take that down now. It's so embarrassing.
Look how many likes it has. This is going to go viral.
No.
Can you imagine being the victim in this situation, going on social media and seeing an embarrassing picture of yourself taken during school?
You shouldn't have to. In schools where cell phones are allowed, there's a higher chance of you getting an embarrassing picture of yourself taken during school where cell phones are allowed. On a Chromebook or laptop, teachers are able to block the camera and social media sites, so there is no way you can have a bad picture taken of yourself during school. On phones, however, it's a lot harder because you can't exactly block the camera on someone's personal device. And so during school, a student can easily take an embarrassing photo or video of a teacher and post it on social media. Cyberbullying can also lead to depression and sometimes suicide, which is already a problem considering it is the 3rd leading cause of death in young children, and we need to make sure it's not the 1st leading cause caused by phones in school.
1 in every 2 victims suffer from distribution of embarrassing photos in school. Chromebooks do not allow these photos to be taken. A study done by the University of Calgary investigated cyberbullying experience in kids. 264 students were surveyed. Close to half of the students were bully victims. Half of the bullies cyberbullied over 3 times. If kids are more exposed to cell phones in schools, the cyberbullying rates will increase. Do you want your school to be a place where cyberbullying is more likely to happen?
This is a conferral period for South Orange, and they'll have 1 minute. South Orange will now present the rebuttal side, and they will have 1 minute.
The less research side may claim that cell phones are causing a high rate of bullying in schools, but it is clear that the cell phone is an inanimate object. Therefore, the true culprit are the students. Bullying has been around way before cell phones. In 2003, 335,699 incidents of bullying were reported in the U.S., compared to just 364,549 in the year 2012. Bullying is prevalent in other ways: fighting, peer pressure, teasing, excluding, spreading rumors, and threats. We question the validity of the assumptions. 1, that technology is dangerous for kids because of bullying, and 2, that technology itself is to blame. We strongly argue after researching: 1, that technology didn't create any new problems that didn't already exist, and 2, that technology is actually less dangerous for kids. By pushing back on cell phones, we separate ourselves from students.
This is now round 6, and we are at our 3rd pro reason for South Orange, and they will have 2 minutes to present.
Imagine you're at school engaged in your work, and suddenly you hear a worried voice announcing, "Lockdown! Red alert!" The look of terror on your teacher's face signifies it is not a drill. Kids are scampering to the corner of the room, the lights are out. A loud gunshot echoes through the halls. As you pull out your phone, your hands are shaking violently. No words come out of your mouth when you try and contact the police, but you know, since your location setting is turned on, they can track your exact spot. Mass shootings have become more common in the school setting since 1999, 17 years ago, when one of the deadliest shootings occurred at Columbine High School.
The sombering statistics point to 143 school shootings since 1990, with 260 injuries and 160 deaths. Now many schools are rethinking their school safety policy to allow students to have cell phones in their possession. A quick call to 911 could mean the difference between life and death. Many times gunshots are being fired before school is put into lockdown. Now students can take action to notify the authorities. The program called ALICE, which is an acronym for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, Evacuate, has been implemented in schools across the nation as part of school emergency procedures. The inform part of ALICE means that after the lockdown, any kind of communication should be used to alert proper authorities.
16-year-old Bailey Graham received a strange text message from one of her classmates that stated, "If I told you to stay home on a certain day, would you?" She knew it was suspicious, so she called the police. After long investigation and interviews with several students, the cops discovered the kid who sent the text message was planning to bomb their school.
Imagine you were part of one of this horrific statistic of 160 deaths from school massacres since 1990, and one cell phone call could have saved your life and many others. Reality is, kids carry cell phones, so instead of banning them, let's embrace the positive impact that they can have on a life.
Byram, you'll have 1 minute for the conferral period. Byram, you have 1 minute for the rebuttal.
Say if you were in an emergency and you had to contact your parents or someone to help you. Phones will ring during class and they can be heard around the school. Also, schools should have some alert system or safety program to contact the parents in some way. Also, there are usually phones that the teacher has in the classroom to contact the parents also. A website stated that in the last 10 years, when did a kid ever have to use a cell phone to contact their parents because of an emergency? See, there was almost no emergencies like this happening anytime soon. Also, in 9/11, all the cell phone towers were jammed, so nobody could contact anybody that well using a cell phone.
This is now round 7, and we will hear from Byron for the con side, and you will have 2 minutes.
Have you ever been distracted from something important because of your cell phone? Do you consider your education important? Brain development, student multitasking, and laws regarding cell phones outside of schools all support the belief that cell phones should not be allowed in schools. Cell phones should not be in schools as they are a constant distraction to middle school students.
Cell phones are often used while multitasking. In school, they can be used for things such as looking up reference tables, text from mom, checking your Google Classroom assignments, and so much more. However, are students able to obtain important information while multitasking? If cell phones were introduced in the middle schools, would students be committing to memory of the educational material being learned while multitasking? John Hamilton from the NPR states, even though modern technology allows us to perform more tasks at once, juggling tasks can make our brains lose connection to important information. This demonstrates how including cell phones in school will negatively affect students.
Supporters of cell phone use in school argue that kids should just be responsible with their devices. The truth is, the brain at middle school age is not yet developed enough to be responsible. Kids are proven not cognitively mature enough to stop themselves from going on games and not doing their work. Research from Stanford Children's Hospital states that during adolescence between 12 and 18 years of age, the developing teenager acquires the ability to think systematically about all logical relationships within a problem, which means only a small percentage of middle schoolers are cognitively mature enough to stop themselves from playing games during class time, as they're still developing the ability to make decisions in school.
Let's also remember that there are now laws regulating when and where cell phone use is prohibited. If the law prevents people from using their cell phone while driving, why does it not go for the same in a classroom? Legally, it has been proven that cell phones are a distraction while driving. Why does it go for the same? Keep phones out of middle school classrooms.
We're now at the conferral period, and South Orange will have 1 minute. South Orange will now present the rebuttal side, and they will have 1 minute.
Though the highly confused side may perceive that cell phones are distracting, the evidence clearly disproves this. If students are more captivated by the game Color Switch than by your lecture, is taking away a student's phone the solution, and is the cell phone really the issue? If engagement in learning is the issue, students will find a new point of focus, another student daydreaming out the window. According to Harvard professor Eric Mazur and many students that have ADHD, when students are sitting through a 50-minute lecture, an occasional distraction provides a healthy balance. In reality, these devices are no more distracting than the windows through which students look at birds through flowers. Yet, you don't hear of any schools sealing the windows.
The modern educator should view cell phones to capture his or her students' attention. The modern educator should use the device as a way to redirect the student's focus to the material. Furthermore, if the modern educator understands the banning use of personal devices can be more disruptive than the technology itself. Our culture is revolving around cell phones more and more, so do we really want to deprive our students of this?
This is now our final round, and we will hear the closing statement from South Orange. They will have 2 minutes.
Nine years ago, educators were told to shy away from YouTube because it was known to be too distracting after being piloted for only 2 years. Now schools across the nation are trying to ban cell phones too because they could possibly be distracting. But allowing students to use their mobile learning devices allows a platform for anywhere, anytime learning, is helpful in emergencies, and shows kids responsibility for the real world.
Teachers everywhere are now using these learning devices every day for lessons, assignments, and other learning tools. BYD, or Bring Your Own Devices, has now been introduced to a high majority of school districts across the nation, 74% of middle schools and 84% of high schools.
BYOD does not only help kids in the digital world of learning, but fundamentally it helps school districts financially, and students can extend their learning beyond the classroom. No child should be shied away from something that's only going to improve their learning. Cell phones are the soda shops of the 21st century.
In the 50s, kids hung out in soda shops. In the year 2016, kids hang out on their cell phones, accessing Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, staying connected via texting. Trying to take their very existence away from students would be like turning back the social clock. So instead of trying to institute a school ban on learning devices, we should embrace them at schools and look how to interrogate their use to positively affect education on a whole.
Byron, you now can present your closing statement, and you will have 2 minutes.
Students should not have cell phones in school because it will affect how they excel academically, it will increase the risk in cyberbullying, and it will cause big distractions during class. Having cell phones in school will lower test scores. As shown in the article, kids do a lot better when schools ban smartphones. As we said before, their experiment showed following the phone ban, test scores rose by 6.4%, and underachieving students' test scores rose by 14%, which is way more significant. This shows that we will do a lot better in school, and our grades and our test scores will increase if cell phone use is abolished.
Allowing cell phones in school would increase the chance of getting cyberbullied. Cyberbullying is already a huge problem in schools, and since technology is on the rise, it will only increase. Now picture allowing phones in school, and every student has a phone when they can use whenever they want. A student can easily take out his or her phone and send a rude text or image to the victim. On bullystatistics.com, it states that 1 in 3 teens have received a rude or threatening message through online sources. This means if phones were to be allowed in school, cyberbullying will occur and have a huge problem.
Cell phones can be a distraction for all middle school students. It is not possible to obtain all of the information that is being taught while trying to retain all of the text that you have received. Kids' brains are not as developed as adults are and are not mature enough to make tough decisions. Kids already have to try to make tough decisions in class already. The students will not be able to make these decisions if they are trying to multitask. There is a law that states cell phones can be a distraction while driving, so by having students use cell phones in class, it's obvious that it's not right. Overall, students should not use cell phones in class because it will lead to students not exceeding academically, it will lead to more students getting cyberbullied, and lastly, it will become a distraction to all students. Overall, cell phones would be best not to be used in school. Thank you for joining us today in this virtual debate.
So this concludes the debate. Thank you. If any of the judges would like to say anything to the students, feel free right now.
I have to say that both schools did an amazing job yet again. The amount of research and time that went into this, I know, is incredible. It was impressive to see the amount of the statistics you put in and all of the research you put into this. And great job, guys. Very good job for both sides.
I was blown away, guys. You guys did an amazing job. Your stats and your information was right on target. And for me, this is going to be a hard thing of going through this rubric and determining the winner. But all of you should be extremely proud of yourself and your models for your fellow students in your school. So great job. And to your teachers as well, a lot of effort and time went into it. So appreciate all your work as well.
And Byram, huge improvement from last year's debate. You definitely have stepped it up. So good job. And South Orange Maplewood, as always, really great.
I think all the schools, both schools, Byram and South Orange, did an incredible job, especially those students who got charged to do the rebuttals. I think that's the hardest part of a debate, and I think both teams were able to do that phenomenally.
Both of the schools were really, really good. They were very amazing, and especially with all the statistics, it went really well. And I like both of the schools and all of your rebuttals. The rebuttals were actually really good, especially since you had a little time to do it. It was really, really good.
So this concludes the debate. Thank you so much to the judges. Thank you so much to Byram School District. Thank you so much to my students and the teachers that I work with. There are 4 teachers in this class. Thank you to everyone. Have a great day.